Share this.
I'm about to get on the Zoom call.
All right, we'll listen to another minute or so of music while we're all coming in. We had a few more people register and they're logging in, so we'll just relax to this music. I like this is like really relaxing. I think something that we all could probably use. No, I can.
It's great.
Yeah.
May I have a Jack Daniels on the rocks, please?
Coming right up, Larry. Coming right up. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
You know, there's a great live jazz place near LAX that is just fabulous. If you like this kind of stuff.
right. I think we've got critical mass here. And I want to thank everybody for joining. Lisa, you want to start the slideshow?
Yes, one moment.
And hope everybody is well today. And it is Thursday, tomorrow's Friday. Happy New Year. This is our first Entrepreneurship Advantage of the year. We're very excited to hear from small businesses. We thought that we would start the year off on the right foot instead of assuming we know what is going on with everyone with our clients. We thought we'd hear it from straight from them as to how they're feeling about their business and the economy and their challenges, so that we can do our best to ensure that they're successful. So just to get going, next slide, please. Let's everybody, we usually start off our Entrepreneurship Advantage with some welcome and introductions. If you could type your name, your organization into chat, and then if there is something that's coming up with your organization that the group could benefit from, like if you're hosting, if you're a TA organization, that's a business assistance organization that's hosting a workshop that some of the lenders might want to send their clients to, or vice versa, or if you're a lender and you have a new loan product, please type that into chat. And thanks, Marcia. Good to see you. Good to see you, Jay. Oh, Alec from the SBA District Office. Nice to meet you. We'll probably be working with each other soon. And we've got our business owners here. And Adrian, where are you from? What is your organization? Jocelyn put in a whole bunch of events that Small Business Majority is hosting over the next, I know they're doing a lot of stuff on paid family leave and healthcare. Good to see people. Vermont Slauson, Adrian, Business Source and the CDFI. Excellent. Nice to see you. And Lisa's from Cameo. I should introduce myself. My name is Heidi Pickman. I'm the Vice President of Engagement and External Relations at Cameo. And next slide, please. I'll tell you, for those of you who don't know and are new to Cameo, Cameo is a statewide microenterprise network. We're the voice for micro business. We create a thriving ecosystem of resources for all entrepreneurs. So that means that we help the people that are helping the businesses serve them the best that they can. Hi, Kathleen. Good to see you too. And we do three main activities. We do capacity building for our member orgs. So we don't serve small businesses ourselves. We serve the business service organization. So capacity building and training for entrepreneurial training programs, for micro lenders. We do advocacy on behalf of both our ecosystem partners. Those are those I just mentioned, as well as for small businesses. And then we also do play a convening role, which is what we're doing today. We're bringing together our resource partners in Los Angeles, for the most part, to get together, get to know each other, and share resources, refer clients, et cetera, et cetera. So nice to see such a great variety of people. Hi, Rosalinda and Pamela. We've got people from all over the Southland, and Greg, Soul Food Restaurant, and owner of Hotville Chicken, a couple of places. Excellent. Well, I can't wait to hear about those a little bit later on. Lisa, next slide, please. I am not Carolina Martinez. Carolina had a family emergency, and for For those of you who have participated in our EA program last year, we have a couple of changes this year as we kind of regroup. EA was formed back in 2018. And when it was formed by a group of prescient people who are sitting here today on the steering committee, if you're on the steering committee, go ahead and raise your hand. Stop sharing for a minute, Lisa. Please go ahead and raise your hand. Use the reaction button if you're on the steering committee. We have Larry, we have Frank, we have Lindsay, I saw. I don't have everybody, here on my screen. Who else is here from the steering committee? I think that's it from the steering committee. They got together and said, hey, we need to get together, do a better job of connecting our entrepreneurs with each other. Jocelyn's new to our steering committee. We need to do a better job of getting our clients connected. And at that time, there weren't a lot of collaborations. Well, since that time in 2018, there have been a few new collaborations that have popped up. I'll never get this right. It's the Los Angeles Initiative. Emma, if Emma were here, she would tell me what it is. We have a meeting next week, so bear with me 1 second. Los Angeles County Initiative for Inclusive Small Business. That's popped up. There's a coalition of lenders. So for those of you who are service providers and are on it, we're rethinking. The steering committee is going to take this year to rethink what we're going to do and what form EA is going to take, and kind of figure out our strategic plan and how to best fit in. So we are moving our EA meetings to bi-monthly. And I think, Lisa, if you want to share, you can. I think she has the dates for us. And we're also going to focus on, and after this meeting, we're going to focus on networking. So you can see the dates here. Lisa will send these dates out so you can put them on your calendar, except for the July one, we're going to focus on networking because that's what you have told us that you value the most. We'll also be getting a little bit more feedback about what would be useful for you all as far as a coalition. And so stay tuned for that. We want to add value, not just make this another meeting that you guys have to go to. That doesn't work, right? We know that doesn't work. So with that in mind, I am going to go on to the next screen and turn it over to our newest steering committee, Jocelyn Cuesta. She is the Senior California Program Manager in Southern California for Small Business Majority. And Small Business Majority is a great partner of ours. We work a lot with them on advocacy issues across the state, as well as some other programming. So Jocelyn, take it away.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having me today. As Heidi mentioned, my name is Jocelyn Cuesta. I am Small Business Majority's Program Manager here in California. Small Business Majority is a national small business organization that empowers America's diverse entrepreneurs to build a thriving and equitable economy. In the chat box, I actually shared the link to our upcoming events. As Heidi mentioned, we partner with Cameo and about 1,500 other partners throughout the nation on content that is geared towards helping break down barriers to accessing capital and helping you get connected to your business ecosystem. Next, we're going to do a little bit of networking in small groups for about 8 minutes. Liza is going to put you into a small group, and what you're going to do is discuss your name, org, and your location, what your role is, and share a new program that you're excited about this year. And then we'll reconvene in 8 minutes, and then we'll start our panel. Take it away, Liza.
Sorry, I was muted. I opened up all of the rooms, so just go ahead and click on join, and you can chat with your fellow EA member.
Welcome, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the networking. The networking segment of today's event. We'll jump right into our small business panel. We have 4 amazing small business owners in the LA area that are joining us today. I'll go ahead and let them introduce themselves, but before they start, please hold your questions till the end of the panel discussion. So let's get started. Angela, could you please introduce yourself, your business name, where you're located, and who you serve, and how your organization has helped your relationship to them? How this organization has helped your relationship.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so my name is Angela Mavridis. The name of my business is Tribali Foods. I am the CEO and founder. We've been in existence close to 5 years now, and we manufacture and distribute frozen foods. Most of my retailers are on the West Coast, so you can find our products in Whole Foods, Sprouts, Bristol Farms, Gelson's, and otherwise. Trying to get national distribution and grow my business. So the SBA has helped me by supplying me with 2 micro business loans, one that we used for inventory and one that we used for just cash flow issues and expansion. So that's me.
That's awesome. I love it. Alrighty, let's start and go next with Flo. Could you please introduce yourself? Again, that's your name, the name of your business, where are you located, and who you serve, and what organization that's helped you in your relationship to them.
Good morning or greetings, everyone. I'm Flo Elkins. I am in the Los Angeles area, Mid-City. I am the CEO and founder of Flow Life Fitness, for the love of life fitness. I work with female entrepreneurs and rowers, and I am associated with Best Mobile Accelerator with Frank Stokes, and he has been very instrumental in the foundation of my business. That's the first business accelerator that I went through, I believe it was in 2018.
That's so cool that you work with rollers. Very exciting. Thank you, Flo. And then Greg, could you please introduce yourself, the name of your business, where you're located, who you serve, and an organization that's helped you in your relationship to them?
My name is Greg Doolin, and I'm a 2nd generation restaurateur business owner. My family started in the restaurant business a little over 40 years ago. I serve the entire Los Angeles community, I like to think. We presently own Doolin's Soul Food restaurants. We have 3 locations. 2 years ago, I opened a new concept called Hotville Chicken with my partner, Kim Prince. And together we launched a food truck that has emerged between the 2 brands, Doolin's and Hotville, and we call that the Doolinville Food Truck. Over the past 2 years, I've been helped by a couple of organizations, Vermont Slauson, Pacific Coast Regional, and different organizations, and they've been instrumental in helping me to obtain a loan to purchase a commercial property on Crenshaw Boulevard.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Greg. I love soul food, so I'm gonna have to drop by one of these days. And next, we saved the best for last, Miss Rosalind, could you please introduce yourself, your business name, where are you located, who you serve, and the organization that has helped you and your relationship to them?
Rosalind, you're muted.
Sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, my name is Rosalind Coleman. Oh, by the way, Doolin's is one of my favorite soul food restaurants. I have to say that. Honored to be here with you, Greg. But my name is Rosalind Coleman, and I own a beauty supply store here in Lancaster, California. It's called VIP House of Hair and Beauty Supply. I actually opened this business thinking that I was just going to be in the business of retail sales. And moving here from Minnesota with my then spouse, who was an air traffic controller. You know, I didn't know a lot about the demographics, about the community. I didn't know a lot about anything. I was just kind of, you know, young and moving to a new location, starting a family. But after a layoff from Countrywide Home Loans, Bank of America, I decided that I wanted to open up a beauty supply store. And I had already kind of had some connections in the industry that could help me get it going. And when I opened up the beauty supply store, I learned where I needed to be. And I was planted right here in the center of Lancaster. That's where my customers were. And being the person that I am, you know, I love community. So as I began to, you know, learn the demographics and the people, I wanted to do more than just beauty supplies. So I do sell a lot of beauty supplies. I started from my car. I grew into 2 larger spaces, and now I'm in my 3rd space, which is about 6,300 square feet. And beauty supplies is the reason for my business, but my business has pivoted to be a lot about community as well. So I'm really invested in the Lancaster youth. I'm invested in, you know, people who have been released from jail and who want to change their lives and they want to work. I offer services in the back of my store. So I bring these girls in where they can get on their feet and make money and begin to get housing for themselves. And I really like to hire from this community. So that is who I serve. And my relationship with SBA, they've been very, very, very instrumental with grants. I'm a little bit afraid of loans, and I should probably be more trusting and learn how to really expand my business and and duplicate this, maybe through some loans or something. But I'm a little scared. So the grant opportunities that the SBA offers, I jump on them every time I see them. I've also done a program with List LA that I enjoyed not too long ago for businesses in beauty. And that one just ended. And I think that's how I ended up on these calls. But it's nice to meet you all. And thank you for having me.
Thank you, Rosalind. I love that you give back to your community. It's business owners like you that are the backbone of our economy and are the backbone of our community. So that's wonderful. Thank you so much. So we're going to go ahead and jump into our panel questions. And we'll start with you, Angela. How has your business pivoted, changed since the pandemic?
That's an excellent question, because we are in the frozen food business, and buyers' perception and buyers' habits of purchasing has definitely changed during this crisis. I think people are, you know, wanting to stock up, as we saw that happen, like with toilet paper, paper towels, or stuff like that. And it definitely transitioned into other parts of the grocery store. So people were buying just regular canned food or things that would just last, and frozen food was one of them. So we saw a very huge increase in our business, which was good from one point. But then I will say the aftermath of year 2 of the pandemic was when a lot of the suppliers and co-packers and distribution that were hit with COVID, that affected us keeping up with the demand. So we're just beholden to everybody that takes a part in making our product. And that, you know, we suffered because of that. We sort of used to joke during the past year and a half when people would say, you know, what problems do you have? We'd say, well, what problems do we not have? We saw problems in transportation. Freight increased 3-fold. So getting our product back east used to cost $3,000. It costs close to $9,000 now. So that increase hits our bottom line. We have to then pass on those surcharges to the end product, right? We had problems we weren't having any one-on-one sales meetings with markets, right? Everything had to be done, everything had to be done via Zoom. And there's only so much you can sell via a phone call. I mean, I'm very into, I do sales and marketing for the business too. So I'm very much into the personable story that I can tell about my business and get behind it. So, you know, all those were taken taken online. There were no sales calls, challenges in procuring raw materials. Like I mentioned before, the co-packer labor charges, those increased. So one of the things that we also learned during this pandemic, sort of a lesson, is that all those charges that hit our bottom line, we were a little late in the game in increasing our prices. We sort of just did it 3 months ago, and it takes 90 days to install them until you see them on the shelf. We should have done that immediately. So when, having never gone through something like this and not knowing how long it was going to last, we should have jumped on it immediately. When we were getting hit with charges from left, right, and center in every direction, we should have then increased so we had a little bit of a cash flow issue, but we can get into that later. So I hope I addressed the question.
Thank you so much, Angela. Rosalind, the next question is for you. What is the best advice, most helpful thing you learned from your business coach or your TA provider?
When I think of my business coach, I can only think of my mentor, who is available to me anytime I need him. I haven't had a business coach through your program quite yet. I would love to have one. But one of the things that my mentor taught me is to work with people who want to work with me. If you know anything about this industry, it's very, it's 90% of the beauty industry that serves communities like the community that I operate in. They're operated by other cultures like Asian people. And it's hard sometimes to get accounts with certain companies because a lot of these stores are kind of, I'm not going to say grandfathered in, but kind of. So someone like me coming into this industry and disrupting it takes a lot of work, a lot of money, a lot of trust. And we've been able to do a pretty good job at it. So I would say that, can you just, I'm sorry, my mind just kind of, a text came through and my mind kind of lost the question. Oh, the best advice. So yeah, so work with people who want to work with you, because it is difficult to open accounts with companies. There are smaller companies who were eager to open accounts with me, to give me business. And the way that I built my business is to work with those people at that time who wanted to work with me. As I grew from my car to a little 500 square foot space, then to a 2,000 or 2,300 square foot space, now prime retail at 6,500 square feet. And we're doing about, let's say, $120,000 a month in sales. Now big companies are coming in and they want to prioritize and work with us. So that's probably the best advice that I've been given by my business coach.
Thank you so much, Rosalind. I love your story. It's really inspirational, especially to new startups coming up. Angela, the same question for you. What is the best advice, most helpful thing you've learned from your business coach or TA provider?
Yes, excellent question. So I think is asking for help, because there were times where I was drowning and I didn't know how to get out of it. And Anna Marie was my person, and she was just by my side the whole time. And just on the side note, a little interesting story. I was chosen to go to fly to DC and to present in front of Congress with the congresswoman from my district on this micro business loan for women-owned businesses. So to make it a permanent governmental program. So I was, one of those success stories that took the money, asked for help, took the money, and it increased my bottom line. So I think the best advice is don't go at it alone. I mean, if you have challenges, if you have hurdles, somebody has done this before you, and somebody is always there to help. And I apologize. And so just wherever you're struggling, raise your hand and ask for assistance, and somebody will be out there. And like I said, we were having cash flow issues and they came to our rescue, and I was happy to represent them in Congress and accompany them.
That's incredible, Angela. Thank you so much for representing women across, just not in just your community, but across the nation. We really appreciate you for doing that. Thank you. The next question is for Flo. What is the most useful resource that helped you through the pandemic?
Thank you. I would say working with Best Mobile Accelerator, Frank Stokes. When the pandemic hit, he had a webinar that was conducted to inform us about different grants and loan programs that were available to small businesses. And so he was always updating that list. So that was a huge resource. I was able to secure several grants and loans, and also the referral to the partnerships that he has with other lenders, the SBA webinars that they had explaining how to actually fill out the paperwork to get these grants and loans. So I would say that was the most helpful. And I know that without that assistance from Mr. Stokes and his partners, that it would have been a much harder year financially without that. So yes.
Thank you, Flo. I'm so happy to hear that you've been able to pivot during this difficult time. Rosalind, I have the same question for you. What is the most useful resource that helped you through the pandemic?
The internet was the most useful resource. The reason why I say that is because when we had the mandatory shutdown order, no one really knew what to do. No one really knew what the law is, but what the law was. So you had to either figure it out or suffer, right? Suffer because we couldn't sell anything, suffer because we couldn't support employees, suffer because community needed my goods, and I was under a mandatory shutdown. So internet was useful to me because I immediately went to the internet to study big corporations who were in my neighborhood, who I knew hired very, very good attorneys to help them determine how they could continue business in pandemic. So I would go and study places like Barnes and Noble, and I would actually purchase a book through their online system. And as I was making those purchases, I was writing down every single step that their business was taking to be able to continue in servicing and selling goods. And then I took their guideline and I had my social media company create the same guideline for VIP House of Hair, and we recovered. So I just thank God for the internet. And when that guy came to my business that day and told me that I was supposed to shut down, I said, well, Barnes and Noble isn't shut down and neither is Dick's. And I'm doing exactly what they're doing. So if you're going to shut me down, you got to go shut them down too. He said, you're good to go. He stamped a little piece of paper on my door and he left me alone. And he said, basically like, good job. We'll see you later. Good luck to you. And I didn't shut down and I still made money. I'm gonna say about a month after pandemic is, I think I stopped for a good week or two because I just didn't know what to do. But as I studied, we were back up and running about 2-3 weeks later and paying our bills, paying our distributors, receiving shipments, placing products in people's trunks at the door, asking them to bring exact cash or Cash App or Zelle or whatever means necessary is what we did.
I love that. You've been really resilient. I know my hair took a hit too during that time.
Although Target and Walmart were open,
Right.
Target, Walmart, they sell great products, right? But they don't sell what a lot of women need
Right.
for their hair care, like the synthetic braid hair, like wigs for women with alopecia. You know, they have the natural curly hair market down really good, but there's just certain things that beauty supplies that you know, that people need in communities like mine that you can never get from Target or Walmart. So it was, even though we considered ourselves essential, right? The government didn't consider us essential. So we had to figure it out so that we could still get our customers their needs. So
Right.
thank you.
No, thank you. Alrighty, Greg, you're next. The question for you is, what did you learn in 2021? What problem did you have and how did you solve it?
Well, being in the restaurant industry, the restaurants in California and across the country took a big hit. A lot of restaurants were devastated. A lot of restaurants closed, never to reopen again. And what I learned was the importance and the power of collaboration during times of crisis. The need to think outside the box and to do things that you wouldn't ordinarily do. And I'd like to give you two examples. Last year, we were blessed to be selected by the city of Los Angeles as one of 40 restaurants brought on to serve senior citizen meals throughout the city. And so it was a collaboration between the restaurants, the city of Los Angeles, and the Yellow Cab Company, who actually delivered the meals. And so we did that program for several months, and over the period, we served about 4 million meals to seniors in Los Angeles. Now, when I tell you that saved my business, that's not an understatement. We did a lot of other community things and collaborations in terms of going to hospitals and feeding frontline defenders and things like that. And this is because the community reached out to us and said, here's $3,000, go feed Martin Luther King Hospital, go do this, go do that. And so that's one example. Another example would be the example of my business partner, Kim Prince, getting together with 9 other female restaurant owners in the city of Los Angeles and creating an organization called Regarding Her. And Regarding Her is a collaboration of women-owned restaurants who support one another and who do collaborations. For example, Hotville Chicken served our food in Santa Monica at one of the restaurants of one of the other founders, and they served their food in Crenshaw. And I'm happy to say that organization has grown to 400 members throughout the Southern California region. They're getting ready to open a new chapter in Washington, D.C., and they're being supported by corporations such as American Express and DoorDash. DoorDash gave them $150,000 last year to distribute $15,000 to $10,000 grants to women-owned restaurant owners. And so it's the collaboration of people coming together to support each other's businesses and not let each other fail. And that's something that I had never seen before. And that's something that was a learning experience for me.
That's incredible, Greg. Thank you so much for sharing both of those. And thank you for supporting our communities during that time. I know the senior program, Feeding Seniors, was a huge thing throughout Southern California. A lot of cities did that, mimic that program that happened in LA. And so thank you for that. That's so important. We really appreciate you. And now we'll go on to Rosalind. Same question for you. What did you learn in 2021? And what problem did you have and how did you solve it?
Oh my gosh. There were so many lessons learned in 2021, but I'm going to give you a less than a 2-minute overview of what I learned. Change is inevitable, right? I think that we all felt the impact of change in 2021. How we see our own business, how we see other businesses, how we see community, and how we appreciate people are things that I already knew, but really understood in 2021. And I walked out of, and I'm still kind of walking around going, Rosalind, I'm pretty resilient. You know what I mean? Like the brand is resilient. One of the things that I know about myself is that, you know, if I give and I pour myself into my community in the time of need, they will give that back to me. And they show love in so many different ways in 2021. So resilience is one of the lessons that I learned. My own personal strength. Timeouts are important, no matter how they come. You know, connecting with nature in 2021. I think I connected with nature more than I had ever done it before, because I was forced to connect and slow down. So change is inevitable. Resilience is a part of my genetic makeup. And quiet time, timeout, and self-care was important for me.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Rosalind.
Yes.
Greg, you're up next. You've supported your community throughout the pandemic. You've helped make changes throughout LA and supported other business owners like yourself. What do you want to learn next? What's your biggest pain point? What problem do you need help solving?
I am trying to get better at it in the digital space as it relates to food service, food delivery, and things like that. I personally see the restaurant industry business model changing, probably permanently. There have been some changes that are permanent. As an example, I've seen restaurants that have initiated takeout windows in their facilities, and the owners, share, they're never going back, and there are things like that. And so so one of the pain points that we're all having, and that I'm having specifically, is getting our customer counts back up, especially with the rise of the Omicron virus. It seemed like we were slowly coming back, and then right before the holidays, everybody was socializing and everything, and we had the wave hit, and now we're going through a second crisis in the restaurant industry. But this time, there is no PPP on the horizon. The EIDL loan program was shut down in December. The federal grant program doesn't look like it's going to be happening again. And so now we don't see any help on the way. We don't even have the senior meal program now. So the only thing that we can do is try to increase our customer counts, and we're trying very hard to do that. We're doing a lot of advertising, a lot of television and stuff like that, but people just aren't coming out to eat. And so that's a big pain point for us. Was there another part of the question?
Yes, if you could wave a magic wand and be good at something in your business that you're not already, what would that be?
Okay, so if I could wave a magic wand, just being honest here, I would be overrun with customers who don't care about price and who never complain. But if I could wave a magic, I would be better at operations and better at just marketing. I love what I do, and that's why I've been doing it for over 30 years. But there's some areas that I haven't mastered even after all those years, that if I could wave, I'd like to be able to step away from the business more and have people come in and run things for me. That would probably be a big one for me. Yeah, that would be a big one.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Greg. Angela, the question is for you now. You've gone to the legislator, you've advocated for women entrepreneurs. What do you want to learn next? What is your biggest pain point? What problem do you need help solving?
So for me, what I learned, like I mentioned, Tribali Foods is something that I was passionate about. I was the founder of, and I'm really good at sales and marketing. I think the best thing to do in any organization is understanding your strengths and your weaknesses, and putting people in place where you might not be well versed in. So I think the biggest lesson I learned is really not just focusing on sales and marketing, but having my eye on the ball in all directions. There are so many branches to my business, whether it's, cost of goods sold, marketing spend, raw ingredients, co-packing fees, transportation, all these inputs that at the end of the day give you your bottom line. And so really having my eye, taking a step back, like you mentioned, and kind of looking at the 40,000 foot view and analyzing my business from that standpoint, I think is paramount. So we had a few challenges during the pandemic. We got some help. And right now, I think the most important thing for me to do is kind of steer the ship back to a profitable position so that I can just coast for a while before I get so excited about sales that as soon as I close a market, I'm like, yes. And sometimes the tough decision I had to learn was sometimes I have to walk away from a retailer because what they're asking for doesn't make sense to my bottom line. I did not do this exercise the first couple of years. As a matter of fact, I built a website that was robust and people were purchasing items on my website. And just this last year, we actually had to shut it down. And that was painful to me because as pretty as it might be, and as many people as I'm servicing, at the end of the day, financially, it didn't make sense. So I think if I could make wave a magic wand and be better at saying no, and even turning big accounts away, if on pencil and paper after I do my ROI analysis, it doesn't make sense, I have to walk away. I have to shut down. I have to pivot. That's a hard lesson to learn.
That is true. That is really hard. And I'm glad you learned it. It's a shame that it happened during a pandemic, but it looks like things are shifting in a better direction. So thank you so much, Angela. And Flo, what are your goals for 2022, Flo?
Wow, thank you for that question. Well, because I work with women over 40 mostly, my focus is to really, aside from working with companies and organizations that, I just know. So hi, Greg. Organizations that are looking to into diversity, equity, and inclusion in the sport of rowing, but also with the women that I work with, really having them look at wellness from a holistic point of view. So not just exercise and nutrition, but also self-care, mental health, nutrition education. So working with more organizations that work with women that are over 40, because rowing is a non-impact sport. And so even like some of the seniors that I work with, they may have like knee problems, knee replacements, and especially now with the pandemic going on, I have some clients where because hip replacements or knee replacements are considered elective surgeries, their surgeries have been postponed indefinitely until they can figure out how they're going to get those services for people that aren't dealing with COVID. So really working with organizations looking to, diverse equity and inclusion with the sport of rowing and expanding my business in that area. I have a lot of women that I work with that are international. And so just being able to travel and work with those women in person, teaching rowing online, and of course, when I can, groups in person as well.
Wow, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. I've watched rowing down in Mission Bay, San Diego. You have to have some strong arms for that.
Legs. It's a full body sport, but it's more of a leg sport than it is arms.
It looks like it's, oh, that's even worse. That'll hurt so much. You won't be able to walk. Thank you so much, Flo, for sharing your goals. Now we're going to take it to the audience. If you'd like to ask our small business panel a question, please raise your hand and I'll call you in the order as your hand raised comes up. And so we'll give everybody a moment to think about who they want to ask questions for. We had Flo, Greg, Angela, and Rosalind. Business owners who have pivoted and have been resilient during this difficult time. I see that we have a question from Larry Johnson.
Yes. So Angela, please tell us a bit more specifically about the types of products. Do you produce a brand or are you producing private label?
So no, I produce my own brand that I started. It's called Tribali Foods. I have not done private label yet because I am trying to build brand awareness under the brand. So they're frozen food, frozen burger patties that are just seasoned with herbs, spices, vegetables, and purees. I'm a nutritionist, and so I wanted to make sure that all the ingredients on the back labels are identifiable and are sourced by most, right? So I didn't want any of the additives or preservatives or binders or fillers. And then just this past year, we came out with frozen entrees, which are a complete 9-ounce meal that you just, heat and serve. You could take it with you. And it's filling. It's got, you can see them all on my website, but yeah, it's just along the frozen food spectrum. And so as we increase our product line, we want to stay in the frozen aisle and just kind of see where else we can dominate.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Larry, for your question. Does anybody else have a question for our panelists? We're nearing the end. If anybody has a question, could you please raise your hand?
I'll step in and just unmute myself. Take the liberty, Jocelyn. Sorry. I had a question for Greg about digital literacy and about more specifics, because that's something that we've heard. You mentioned that you wish you were more, how to incorporate into the restaurant business.
Well, the restaurant business is becoming more technology based. People are ordering foods in all types of different ways. There are companies that are taking trailers, setting up, putting kitchens on these trailers and setting them up in a random parking lot. And then they're serving 3, 4, 5, 6 brands out of this trailer. And all of this is based, they're doing all of this with digital, with computers and things like that. And I haven't mastered that yet. And so that's what I meant. That's what I'm trying to do.
Thank you, Greg. We have a question from Madison Richards for anyone on the panel, if whoever would like to answer this. Is there anything small business owners need more of or differently from financing institutions?
More grants. If I want to give up grants, hit me up.
Yeah, and I think when financial institutions partner with the small business community in terms of, providing resources, as an example, Chase built a community center at the corner of Crenshaw and Vernon that they offer to the public for events, for gatherings, for trainings, and things like that, for educational purposes and things like that, with the goal being to increase the net worth or the wealth of the surrounding community. I think when financial institutions have that goal, particularly in underserved communities, I think it can make a difference because that education, that concentration just was not there in the past. When I first started in the business, I couldn't get a bank loan. And so, I think that's helpful.
Yeah, and a lot of community spaces, including schools and resource centers, are reaching out to small businesses like ours to go into their spaces and educate and teach and bring goods and things like that. And right now, one of the things that I like to do is give out free books to improve literacy in my community. And I did a lot of that prior to pandemic. but I really can't do it now and I want to. So if financial institutions want to contribute, you know, anything separate from grants or loans, or, you know, maybe partner with us and find out what does your community need? What do they want? You know, right now there's a lot of braiding buzz going on in elementary schools. So they're asking for us to bring in, like, you know, the equipment, the tools, the heads, the people, the resources to teach, to really engage with these children, you know, who have this interest. So even if it, I mean, for me, I can hold my bit. I'm doing okay, but I would love to give more to community. So if I could have help with that, that would be great.
Thank you, Rosalind and Greg. It looks like we're at 12 o'clock. We're at the end of our time. I'll turn it over to you, Lisa.
Yes, I just wanted to give Larry the chance to do his quick comment, and then I'll do the updates. If you all can just hang out with us for a few more minutes, that would be great. Go ahead, Larry.
Thanks, Lisa. This is especially for Greg and for Angela. There is an option that all of you might be able to take advantage of called crowdfunding. And we at El Camino College Small Business Development Center have experts on staff on crowdfunding. There are 5,000 crowdfunding platforms. It's a process, but we can advise you on the process. If you're looking for funding, I think you'll have probably a greater opportunity for success than the grant world. There are only a few grants available that you'll really have access to. Most of them have strings attached to them. Crowdfunding could be debt crowdfunding, rewards crowdfunding, equity crowdfunding. Please contact me at El Camino College. I'll get you hooked up with our experts. We do workshops on crowdfunding about every month. And it's something you really should consider and take advantage of.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Larry. And thank you once again to all of the amazing small businesses who joined us today. We know you're super busy and appreciate you taking the time today to talk with all of us. I will be sending a follow-up email with all of their contact information, as well as other goodies that they've sent me to send to you all. Thank you again, Jocelyn, for moderating the panel. You did great. And I see that, you know, we have several comments in the chat about how amazing you all are. So thanks again. I do want to just drop a couple announcements for Cameo. Let me send that to you. So we have 2 events coming up, 3, I should say, webinars coming up for Cooking Up Success, if anybody is interested in taking it. It's a 3-part series. Just go ahead and click on that link and you can register. Also, our Microlending Essentials class for this month sold out. So we are currently in miles now. The next one will be in May and October. So if you're interested in joining that wait list, make sure to email me. My email's in the chat. And that'll be it. I will be sending a follow-up email. And thank you again to everybody for joining us, and have
Thank you.
your day.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Right.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Greg and Angela, Rosalind, Flo.
Thank you.
Thank you.